Let's get good. I am the Gamer Under Development, and this is Endless Space 2 Awakening. We are playing as the relic hunting Nakalim, and we're going to start today off a little bit differently, folks. We did get some feedback, or rather, I got some feedback on Reddit from you Double Bullfrog again, letting me know that I had made a grave error when it came to our level 4 modernization here. We did choose to use Eden Incense, because it generates influence, but it also costs a ridiculous amount, to the point where, based on our current generation of about 20, we can maybe do it once every 3 turns, but there's an even bigger problem here with our Giga Lattice, which we're only getting 16 of per turn. That means that it's going to be roughly every 4 to 5 turns that we're able to make a level 4 improvement because of that. Now, that's not a world-ending thing, but there is something that we should have done. I don't know if you guys remember, a couple of videos ago, we had an exploration ship, and I was trying to see if there were any more Curiosity upgrades to get, and I missed one. There is one right here, Deep Epoch Scanning. That would have given us access to some higher-grade luxury resources, which would have costed considerably less units to actually do our level 4 modernization if we'd found them. I believe it's these foundries right here for one. I'm not entirely sure. There's probably enough to fill in these gaps right here. In fact, I'm actually going to throw that in queue, even though it's not going to be particularly useful at this moment. I'm going to throw it in queue right now anyway. 3 turns. We'll put it at the back of the queue, though. I want to get that, though, so that we can see what resources would have been available. Being realistic, I usually finish games by this point in the game. 98 turns is pretty deep for me. Let's go ahead, though, and dive in now. Lodestone system is secured in Wardan. That means that one of our allies is over here securing it, because we don't even have vision on that one. That's okay, though. Rejuvenators have it. That's what matters. We did check this hack already, I believe, but yeah, they've got a few turns to get back to us. It's going to take them 2 to trace it, or 2 for us to finish it. It'll take them more than that to trace back, because we jumped through 2 systems. So realistically, it takes about half the time it took you to get there for them to get back, and in my experience, if you jump through one system, it takes about 6 to 7 turns, which means it takes them about 3 to get back. So as long as you're jumping through one system and you're going to finish within 2 by the time the hack starts, you're generally safe. So in that case, we're just going to go ahead and ignore that one. Nakalim population has grown on Bonnie. That means we got to ship them out. I wonder how close our Zermasala are now. I know we check this all the time, but like it's an active pet project of ours. 17. Okay, so we're 3 out from getting the 20 Zermasala bonus here. Quite a distance from the 50. We're probably not necessarily going to get there before we end this. Aururin Termalaz has leveled up. We have another governor with the Joy Initiative. That's something to keep in mind, but I'll get to that in just a second, guys, because that is a way that we can sort of compensate for mistakes made. Yeah, we're going to go Geniocrat here, because it's just no, wait, that's percentage. I don't like percentage bonuses. They're not necessarily as effective as just flat bonuses, especially for the Nakalim, where like science is based on, you know, our science generation on a system is going to be 0, so plus 60% of 0 isn't much. This will basically just increase the science generated by the hero and by any improvements, which is still probably better than anything else we have here. I mean, we could take Transcendental Outlook. All that's going to do is reduce dust cost by 10%, or by 10 rather. No, 10%. Okay, so we'll do that actually. I'm not opposed to reducing our dust cost by another 10%. That's probably going to be more useful than the science, and we're honestly so surplus on science that last episode we completed 3 science projects in 1 turn, so I'm not worried about that anymore. Panako has leveled up. Let's go ahead and give Panako the skill that makes the most sense at this point. They are going to get Joy Initiative, so we don't really want Transformational Leadership. I mean, this is okay, but that's for a fleet, so maybe not. Fleet. Food and Happiness? Food and Happiness is okay, because food turns into production for us now, so that's actually acceptable. Yeah, we'll go with that. Alrighty then. Back to what I was saying, though. There is a way that we can maybe help ourselves a little bit when it comes to our generation of these resources. So we're almost generating enough to do one of these upgrades every 3 turns. The one that's really hurting us is Giga Lattice. There's a couple of ways that we can increase our Giga Lattice growth. One of them is to capture another planet with Giga Lattice. That's a little bit more than we want to deal with, though, right now. The other is to make a trade route that goes to a system with Gigalatus and then buff the trade route to try to get more resources. That doesn't generally increase the amount of resources you get by a ton, though. It's usually like 0.3, 1.2, something like that. So we'll do that, but we're not going to make that our go-to for how we're going to solve this problem. So we'll put a trade company subsidiary and a solar security operations here in Hoth, because Hoth does have Gigalatus right here. That is on a planet that's Temple of the Lost, though, which is interesting, because we still get that resource, but I'm not sure how, like, that affects trade, if at all. We'll also put a trade company subsidiary right here on Bonnie, because Bonnie has Gigalatus, and we'll throw a solar security operations there to increase the trade value. I'm not sure if that will actually increase the amount of Gigalatus that we generate, but it is something, and that's sort of part of our wraparound solution to that problem. The other thing we can do is we can extort other empires for it. We already do that quite frequently as it stands. We could do a diplomatic demand basic here. We can also tell them to get their ships out of our sphere of influence, so let's do that. Reduce pressure from Long Night against other empires. Cover up. I'm going to go ahead and denounce him, which will give reduced pressure from them on other empires, which I believe affects our generation of pressure on them slightly. Not by a lot, but it might. At least it does affect their generation of pressure on us, which I believe is in competition with us. So it should give us a slight increase.
You're messing with the smart ones.
No. We're messing with the ones that need to get out of our sphere of influence. We could shoot you too. We will denounce you as well. We will denounce everybody, guys. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep throwing our political weight around, as it were. Okay, Karana has completed Trade Company HQ and Solar Security Base, which is excellent. Let's go in and see what else we can do with them now. It now makes sense to build all these food improvements here. The question is, which ones do we want first? This is only going to give us plus 10% food and then plus 10 food on population that are on a planet with luxury resources, which is just Piranha 4 here. Epigenetic will just give us 2 food per pop. That's pretty great. I think we're going to go with that. We have 2 steriles here, so that will give us an additional population on those planets. Eco-habitats will. However, we may end up changing these to something else in the near future. We had talked about potentially terraforming to a savanna here. Not sure whether that's necessarily worth it, though. It is, although it is worth noting that they're generating more production now than before we switched them to a desert, so maybe we'll just go for it. Maybe we'll just shoot for a savanna and let that be what it is. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna just go for it there and see how that turns out. Monsoon will generate additional food here, so that's something to consider as well. Let's go for it there as well. We really have nothing left to build except for terraforming and food. So we're just gonna terraform everything to the umpteenth and see if we can get the maximum production out of food here and how that works out. This will be a good test system for that, just to see what our overall increases look like. Everybody else seems to be good, except for Kamos, which is doing public 3D printing. We don't really want that. We'd rather have them do these. They will generate a lot more food doing that. That's kind of lovely right there. We will enjoy the food gains. We can also start building microwave pipes now. That'll be a nice little improvement, but there's no reason to necessarily build it at this particular moment. I do want to go ahead and take a look at Kuyos here, because Kuyos is where our Voidstone is coming from, and this is another way that we can generate more luxury resources. The reason we have so much Voidstone is because this hero actually increases the luxury resource deposits by 4 and then an additional 33%. So if we get another Horatio hero, we can do that on another system, or we can move him to another system. The problem is, if we move him to another system, we will drastically reduce our Voidstone gains here. They'll go down from 24.9 to 6. Unless we put someone else that has a similar boost there, at which point, why wouldn't we just put them in Hath or something? So moving him does mean that we'll drop the generation of that, so we're kind of in a catch-22 there. The other thing we can do is we can check the marketplace. Now, if we go in the marketplace, look at luxuries, there is a ton of Voidstone on the marketplace, and it's relatively cheap. There is not a ton of Gigalatus. It is not relatively cheap. There is a ton of Eden Incense, so we're not worried about that either. So what may make sense is to move our governor off of Kuyos onto Hath so that we can generate some more Gigalatus there. The question is, how many turns does he have left before we can reassign him? Let's find out. Let's just go into Hath and see if we can reassign him right now. There is some danger in reassigning him as well, though, because he's locked for 3 more turns. We assigned him to Kuyos because they were having happiness issues, and I don't know if we have another counselor that is ready with the Joy Initiative. I don't think we do. I know that Panako is not. Ararin maybe, but he's in a very important location we don't want to move him from. So Justikar Jide Parcha is our best bet. Oh, and she is. No, she's just shy. 1 level and she'll have Joy Initiative, then we can make that swap, which is fine because it's going to take 3 turns for him to be ready to go anyway. All that works out perfectly. We have obtained 1 or more relic through exploration on Jaya. Excellent, that's fine. This is a system we've got this guy just hanging out on anyway because we want him to capture that when the quest becomes available. Oh, and that reminds me, we were trying to catch a pirate over here. It looks like he's moving down this way now. So we're going to go ahead and bring our fleet down here and go ahead and lock this system down, do a guard action here to make sure we catch him when he lands, and then we can poke him and potentially complete that quest. What are they looking like? Wow, Merope is done for. They are just wrecked. Can do a little bit of shooting here. We're not going to do it with Rink's fleet. We learned our lesson last time. Going to be very careful about the fleet we choose to shoot with here. This one will be excellent. They're going to retreat here. We could watch this. I'm tempted to watch it because it's going to be like one of those really fun slaughters, but we're not going to watch it. We're going to try to get through a couple more turns by not watching combat this episode. Oh, look at that. Just beautiful. 2600 dust, 2200 science. That is the way that we do it. A little bit of damage on our Chancellor here. Not the best thing for us, but that's okay. Not enough for us to be significantly worried. And if I'm not mistaken, we have a hack. Yeah, the hack on Merope is finishing in 1 turn. That'll work out great. Sirs Kershaw has leveled up. Sirs, we would love you to take more hull plating absorption. That would be wonderful. Thank you very much. And with that done, that leaves all the things done. Let's go ahead and hop around and see if we have any other fleets that are ready to shoot. Do we have another Bang Bang fleet? We've got this fleet just waiting. They're just waiting for people to Bang Bang, which I love. Do we have any Bang Bang fleets up here, or have we wiped them out? I think we've relatively wiped out all their forces up in this area. You can actually see the UE sphere of influence beginning to expand over Regulus, which is great. And we already talked about this last time. I realized at the end of the episode, we have 3 turns left on this truce before we can start absorbing their systems for the Academy, which is fine. That's absolutely fine. I don't have a problem with that. I'm good with that. It is all good. Okay, let's go ahead and end this. Merope has successfully been hacked. Lovely. So we're going to go with jam commands here to ruin their ground tactics, force them not to pick draft, essentially. That is actually a really, really powerful and interesting effect, in my opinion. We are able to force them to not pick draft civilians, so they can't use their population to continue defending the system if we do that, which is very, very powerful. We can see a small civilian logistics fleet trying to move through there. We're going to bounce this fleet over here just so that we can catch them and pop them for a little bit of extra dust. In the meantime, of course, we're going to go ahead and invade Merope. We should win this easily with a blitz, just decisive victory here because they are forced to choose a ground tactic other than draft. Decisive victory just like that, baby. Stampede is what they had to pick. That's all it takes. That is a wonderful use for hacking. I have just found my favorite new use for hacking. I am sold 150% on hacking right now. That is so much faster than trying to fight through them drafting population. So we have got them here. What do we want to do? We can pillage them, get a whole bunch of resources here. Systems manpower resets to 50%. That's painful. We can raise. If we raise them, though, we get minus 15 happiness on systems if they're not in a dictatorship. That is somewhat frustrating. Gosh, that's actually a really tough decision at this point. We could also occupy. There's not. I mean, there's Voidstone here. That's a thing, I guess. I don't know. Like, I'm not super excited to do anything with this. I guess we just pillage it for fun. The only system of theirs we actually want to occupy is their capital. The thing is, like, I don't want to dive our fleets super deep in and then have all their systems surrounding us and try to fight on to their capital. Although I guess we could, honestly, at this point, we could probably just do that. We could probably just do that and get relatively away with it. The biggest trick is moving our siege fleet safely. Okay, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do all the things, guys. We're just gonna go ahead and pillage this system and get what we can get. Honestly, the gains from pillaging here are pretty mediocre anyway, though. Almost worth taking the happiness loss just to raise this place to the ground. I mean, we could occupy it and then trade the system to someone else, I guess. That's a thing. The question is, would we take a bigger happiness loss by occupying it than raising it? And I'm not sure. The raise happiness loss is also only for 3 turns, though. This is like a terribly tough decision right here. I think what we'll do is, because I don't want to occupy it and then deal with ownership and trying to then trade it off to someone, I think we'll just go ahead and raise it. The choices are so tough, though. The choices are so tough. You'll pillage the system and its inhabitants. The system will lose population and improvements. I guess that's not bad. It will take away all the movement points for our military fleets hovering, which is something I'm not a fan of. Ooh, this is such a rough decision. Let me go look at our happiness real quick. So we're devoted, we're ecstatic. The only place that isn't super happy is Bushir, and that's because Bushir's planets are all really rough. Oof, it's such a... Okay. I'm gonna make the decision, guys. I'm sorry, this is a tough decision, it really is. I'm gonna go with... See, we're gonna get -10 on systems if not in a dictatorship for pillaging anyway. So we're just gonna raise it, forget it. We're just gonna raise it to the ground. I don't even care. Burn it all. Our people are content in a couple of systems. They're still devoted empire-wide, which is what really matters. Don't care, we're all good. Let's go ahead and move this Titan fleet down here. While we are at it, we'll go ahead and bring our invasion fleet down here as well. I wonder if they can actually, like, recapture that system, though, and, like, bolster it or something. I would be okay with that. Like, if they recaptured the system and tried to repair it, I would be fine with that. The whole idea is I don't want to have them, like, manufacturing ships out here to bring in on us when we go for Novaris. Like, Gatria here, if we can just pillage this system one time, it'll wound it enough that I feel like we can go after Novaris and we shouldn't have any trouble. Rink has leveled up, that's excellent. I believe we already maxed out his thing that increases the siege damage. Yeah, we did. So let's go ahead and just get more hull plating here. That makes sense. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Zermasala Pop has grown on Bonnie, 2 away. Public 3D printing happening on Kamos. We don't want that. What we can do with Kamos at this point is turn this steppes potentially into a monsoon. That will lower the dust and science by 1, but increase the food by 2, which means if we have a biofuel factory, it'll increase the production by quite a bit. So we'll go ahead and do that. That's a thing we can do here. This monsoon is a temperate planet. Edenization project still very effective here. It is not fertile, so we're not going to switch it over to the aquaculture dome. We'll just leave Edenization there. It makes the most sense. We could begin building well-being foundations now. We actually have enough surplus antimatter at this point to make that an okay thing. And it will help combat some of the happiness we're losing because we're, like, burning people's systems to the ground. So I'm going to go for that right now. That seems like a good plan. Do we actually have a trade line coming through Kamos? And if so, yes, we do. Okay, so another thing we can do here in Kamos that makes sense is go ahead and do a trade company subsidiary. We can get that and the Wellbeing Foundation in a turn. Lovely little gain right there in a very short time period. Kuyos now has a level 3 modernization, or they will in 1 turn, rather. Okay. There is a full fleet of carriers here, which is lovely. Let's go ahead and do that. We do not have enough CP to go ahead and put that 4th carrier in the fleet, but that is all right. Gosh, we have so many fleets now. It's not even, like, funny how many fleets we have. I do want to point out something real quick with our trade company, and we'll see that, I guess, from this trade menu in here, and it's something that is actually kind of frustrating me. If we go look at our trade company, we have 3 blockaded routes. They're blockaded in Edisir, Groos, and Regulus. Edisir is right here, belongs to the Lumeris, but we'll be able to take that once we go to peace with them, or Cold War rather. Gruus and Regulus, however, are blocking us, and they're just free systems that we can't really interact with. I mean, we can. We're basically hovering over them and wearing them down, but we can't actually, like, do anything to clear that up. Unless we go to peace, I guess. Peace or Cold War could theoretically allow us to move goods through there. The other thing we could do is we could just raise those to the ground, too. I'm actually hoping the UE will just take Regulus. That would be really nice right here. But that's not necessarily guaranteed, and in the meantime, I think we're just going to reinforce our fleets with this other fleet of carriers right here. Keep our bigger carrier fleet here defending Kuyos. Kuyos is our most Lumeris-facing system. Edisir here just kills me. Like, why did they even bother? Because now we're just going to farm that. We're like basically just sitting there shooting at their people for fun. Alright, you guys are fine hanging out right there. These guys should intercept the pirate here, I suspect. Pirate, hello? No. Pirate has not landed. Next turn, next turn. We do have our behemoth here, though, ready to go with his mining probes again. Hello, mining probing. More antimatter for us. I have to say, I really don't know if this mining behemoth is proving to be as useful as it could be. It's basically just bouncing between two systems mining. It feels like it'd be more useful if we had more systems in our area that we hadn't colonized. But since we've kind of colonized most of them, it doesn't really do much. Which is unfortunate, because I would really like it to do more. Hey, look, there's some pirates here. How much power do they have? 8,000. We have 3,000. That is not a good thing. We should probably not be poking at them. They will kill us. You know what? Let's go ahead and do this. Let's take this fleet. It's going to take them 2 turns to get up there. That's okay. We will see if we can reinforce that other fleet that's going after the pirate. And down here, we'll just pop out this one Titan. That does weaken our defenses a little bit, but honestly, if we need to, we have a fleet here we can bring in, we have a fleet over there we can bring in, we've got some fleets in the area. Current political output is very clearly religious and militaristic. We do want militaristic to win because that is affecting our overall happiness due to the Jingoist Joy Bill. However, we did move out of war with one faction, and we're very close to moving out of war with the Lumeris. Like, realistically, all we want to do at this point is capture their capital, and then we can end the war with them, because the goal for us is just to capture all the capitals, right? So if we get that, that'll leave the Cravers up here that we can come after and take their capital, and that should be pretty easy, because they're basically the weakest faction in the game right now. I like that. I like that. That's our new plan. The other thing we can do with this, and I was just looking at it and I was like, this is a very interesting decision. We can turn that into an obliterator. Using the obliterator will generate some very negative outcomes for us, but maybe we'll try that out, because that'll be faster than us waiting to unlock another behemoth slot. We do have a hack left. Merope, still a backdoor. I don't know if that's intended or not, but I don't mind. Let's go ahead and let's hack from Merope. We're already going Merope, Ugaro, Gatria. Can we go down to Aquarius? We can't, but we can go straight through Gatria to Novaris. That seems a little bit risky right now. We might want to wait until there is actually a backdoor on Gatria, because that will speed up our hack through Gatria. So in the meantime, let us instead do something like this. Guess we could come up and begin hacking our way towards the Cravers. That's actually not a bad idea. If we do this, we start hacking our way towards the Cravers, we can start building backdoors out and get a network going over here so that we can hopefully go to Pixis and force them to use a terrible ground tactic, making our invasion much quicker. I like that. That hack that makes the invasions quicker is just 100, guys. Like, I don't know how many of you struggle with invasions like I do, but that is huge. Sower population has fallen off on Hath. We've lost one. That's okay. Gruus successfully hacked. Gruus is over here. Do we want a backdoor or a sleeper? I think right here we're better off just getting more sleepers. All the sleepers. How many sleepers do we actually have in their empire now? That's a good question. I mean, I know we have sleepers in a couple empires. Oh, The artillery officer has been convicted. He sits in a prison facility nicknamed the Reaper's Penthouse as his lawyers file petition after petition for his freedom. The minor factions in your empire live in a permanent state of fury. Things can't seem to get any worse, but somehow they do. An intergalactically renowned journalist named Zolya Emily publishes an intrepid report damning your entire government and exposing the real traitor as an admiral who the officer consulted on the reports. Emily's work rocks the empire, ironically making allies out of the minor factions and their former enemies. Though the officer is happy to have his name cleared, there will be a price to pay for your administration's bumbling efforts. Oh boy. Minus 10 influence on systems for 10 turns. That's weak. That's very weak. I'm not happy about that. Although I am happy about this, both Kraz and Bria are ready to be consumed and given to the Academy very, very soon. How long is that? Is that one more turn? 2 more turns? 1 more turn. I'm excited, guys. I hope you're excited. I'm excited. And Justikar Jai Parcha does have the ability now to go ahead and use the Joy Initiative. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Nakalim population growing on Bonnie. We're going to go ahead and move them off as we usually do. Kath could use another Nakalim. And then Abianord has leveled up as well. What can you do for us, dear friend? Probably going to end up going here for Transcendental Outlook, although we could go here to get minus the System Expansion Disapproval, which is nice, and minus Overpopulation Disapproval, which is also very nice, especially since we're going to be absorbing some capitals here. I think that's actually a better idea. We'll go with that. Alright, those are good. Kamos has a trade company subsidiary. Hath has built a solar security operations base. Now, for the system of Hath. We could generate some more food. That actually seems like a very good idea. We can't terraform that gas planet yet. Can you not terraform gas planets at all? Maybe that's a thing. This we could make into a monsoon here. Will that increase happiness? No, it will also not increase population size, so not necessarily worth it. Same here. Will give us more food, so it essentially gives more production, but not more happiness, which is what we're really looking for. I mean, we could build more food in general, just to, yeah. Let's just do that. We'll just build more food. All the food. All the food. Switch everything to food planets. I'm good with it. Let's go with it. See how that all pans out for us in the long run. Speaking of, has Karana terraformed anything yet? This is now a savanna. It is generating significantly less production as a savanna. However, that's weird because it's generating a lot more food. Interesting. I wonder if the food to production conversion doesn't like show on the planet, but it does show on the system. Oh wow, it does. Okay. Okay, so that's, yeah. That's pretty... I mean, it seems like we're okay on production. Let's go take a look at the overall systems and see where it's at. Karana is, yeah, they're great on production right now. So I can only assume that that boost of food made a positive difference at this point. I am not 100% sure of that. Sanguinis has now received a relic. Lovely. Let's go get another one. Indusa has one. Go get it, buddy. Go get that relic. Good job. We give you head pats for that. You are doing awesome. Alright. This is just fun. Hi. Thanks for that money. We appreciate that. Your tribute to the great empire of the Nakalim is appreciated. Oh, and here we go. Isyander's Gambit, Part 1. These systems contain sites known as Lodestones, places built to prey to the lost that were used to lure and trap them. With them under the control of the Rejuvenator faction, one lost summons can be made to bring back these dead gods. One last summons. Okay, so we are already on some of these systems. We got first in that competitive quest thing, so we do get the Lodestone link, which is awesome because it just gives you a ton of Fidzy. Well, not a ton, but it does give you like... I mean, look at it. It's +1 Fidzy on planets, +3 on tiny planets, +4 on tiny planets, and +3 on small planets. So that's just really, really nice. We also got Eternal Bulwark, which is a nice Quadranix defense module we could potentially use on at least our hero ships, I think. And then Empire Dust 6000, the dust isn't a big deal. With hero-led fleets only, clear collaborator fleets from around the identified Lodestones orbit a majority of Lodestones until the rite is complete. This is a problem. This is a problem, but I do want you guys to see the rewards for this. +20% Fidzy on star systems, +4 levels on heroes, plus 20% maximum manpower stock on ships for first place. So it's a problem because we are going to have to jump some heroes out of our fleets and bring them to other places, which will weaken those fleets significantly. However, the trade-off there is that it'll mean we get ridiculous rewards, so I'm absolutely okay with it, like to the point where we're just gonna do it right now. Like, that's just the thing that needs to happen. Sir's Kershaw going here, Rink going here, that'll give us 2 of the 4 that we need to capture. Very good with that. Let's see if we can find another 2 to grab. Wardan is one of them. We may actually even have a fleet here that can go do it. Question is, which fleet? Which fleet do we want to send out that? No, not all. Not all. Please, not all. That would be very, very bad. We will just take Colin Fett Iska's fleet and send him straight over here to Wardan. Go, Colin Fett Iska. He'll get there in 1 turn, which is lovely. We are not contesting it with this Caravel because they do not have weapons, I'm presuming. Oh, we're on the same team. Okay. Well, that makes it a lot easier. So the downside is we do lose some heroes and their fleets being on system, which is not exactly the greatest thing ever. However, the upside is that we do get to have our fleets capture these and potentially gain some very nice bonuses. The reality is if we get 3 of these like this, ooh, even potentially 4, because I believe this ship does have guns on it, doesn't it? Hey, let's go ahead and send Moria over here. She gonna do it for us, guys. So if we capture all 4 of these, if we're involved in the capture of all 4, we are gonna get huge bonuses, and the gravity of that cannot be expressed in words. Like, it is a ridiculous bonus. Okay, Seganis we already dealt with. That'll be just fine right there. We do have some ships to shoot here. We're out of time, and I'm really sad because I would love to keep going right now. Like, this is going phenomenally, and I kind of just want to end the turn real quick so that we can begin to convert some of those systems with our influence bomb. But if I do that, like, we're gonna miss out on some other things here. Obviously, we're waiting for that thing to land so that we can go ahead and poke at it. Oh, and our carriers are here, so they can wipe out these pirates that are sort of in the system already. We'll just do that real quick. Bye, Felicia. Okay, they're done. We get a little dust and science. We're just waiting for that pirate ship to pop in. Is there anyone else that we need to mess around with? The one risk here is if somebody does bring a fleet, we may lose Moria. Moria may get hurt, but we can always heal Moria with dust, so it's not that big of a deal. And now I'm going to go ahead and just end the turn because I want to be at Cold War. We want Cold War very, very badly. I think for this one, what we're going to do is we're actually just going to use efficient primary elections for the religious party. Although the religious party's main thing, actually, it would be pretty beneficial here because we could stay out of war and still invade people and stuff, and I really like that. Pushing pacifists, though, wouldn't be a bad idea since we could force peace with people and then just be like, let us convert your systems. So that's also a very strong option here. I think what we're going to do, though, is go with religious. Actually, you know what? Let's do pacifist. What do we get if we do pacifist? We will lose access to quite a few laws. Spoils of war being gone is going to be something that we'll feel. But additional resource generation would help us convert stuff to tier 4 systems, and fair trade bill would be excellent. Let's do this. Let's do this. We're going to go for it. We're going to strong-arm lobby people into pacifism. Alright, we are now religious pacifists, which is lovely. Very lovely. And then once this turn... Oh, look at it. Can you see it now, guys? Can you see it? Zermasala population boost has ended. We're going to minimize that. We're just going to minimize everything here. We understand there's a lot of stuff going on.
What we're going to do.
No. We're not accepting your truce. I'm gonna minimize that for right now. Okay, this is important though. This is it right here, guys. Bam!
Done well.
Bam! 11 relics! Holy moly, that's beautiful! Is that great or what? Look at that. Just a quick conversion there. Nothing big. And we're still growing our sphere of influence here. We could wrap Pollux here fairly easily, and wouldn't that be lovely? That is going to be it for this episode, though. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to go ahead and give us a like or subscribe to the channel, and we will see you next time. Bye!